So, gaming is dead. Maybe not dead, but it's in a pretty rough spot. I feel like everyone can agree with that. Everything's getting expensive. Games, hardware, subscriptions, you name it. Everything is going up in ways that we just haven't seen. You can't avoid it. You open whatever app and it's there. And these things don't seem like they're ever going to change. Companies aren't going to magically stop needing RAM and storage, and with no end in sight until some type of new technology or whatever. No one really knows, but bottom line is things are going to probably get worse before they get better. And this sort of negativity around something that I really enjoy, which is video games, has been kind of hard. It's really gotten in my head a little bit, and it's kind of made me forget why I like playing video games and what they mean to me. And I just kind of thought about it a bit. Why do I play video games? Why do I spend so much time on it? Why do I put things off to play a video game? And this was really on my mind around the beginning of June during Summer Games Fest and State of Play when everything was getting announced. And I saw Gen Atlas get revealed. And its director, Fumito Ueda, made Shadow of the Colossus and Ico and Last Guardian. And I just kind of thought about it for a while, because that game looks really good. It looks really unique and feels like something we haven't seen before. And it got me thinking about Shadow of the Colossus. Well, spoiler alert, Shadow of the Colossus is really good. I know I'm not breaking any new ground by saying that, but I had an amazing time with it. A lot better time than I thought I would. So as stupid as it may sound, I'm going to talk about a critically acclaimed 20-year-old game and let everyone know how good it is. I just hope by talking about how much I like this game that it makes you play a game. It's not obvious before I really like this game. I think everything about it is absolutely perfect. Even the things that maybe are not so perfect, and we'll get to that later. I want to start off with the story. I don't want to spoil it, even though most people might have already played it, but to those people who haven't, it's really worth being surprised by this game. Just a brief summary: play as Wander, who is trying to revive this girl named Mono, and he needs to travel to an unknown land and kill 16 colossi for Dormin. Even though it may sound kind of weird and basic, it's so far from that. The best thing I can say about this game, and not even just the story, but everything about it, is it does so much with so little, and it lets you do all the heavy lifting. It gives you just what you need, and then the rest is completely up to you, however you interpret it. Just to give a couple examples to kind of explain what that means, the characters, you know almost nothing about them, and you learn nothing about them throughout the whole game. You don't even learn their names unless you look them up. You don't know anything about their motivations. You know why they're there, but you don't know what their relationships are, what happened to them previously. It's all up to you to think about that. The Colossi, you get a brief description of them before you fight them, and that's it. Whatever pops in your mind about their design or how they look or their area that they're in, you can combine those together in whatever way makes sense to you and build that story out for yourself. And I think the way this game does that is beautiful. The game kind of builds its story out in a simple way, but it's so complex, and that complexity can be completely up to you, like I said, especially towards the end, which I won't really say too much, but you feel like you're reaching a conclusion that makes sense, but then you're given something that completely throws that out the window. You have to come up with something for that now. None of your questions will be answered. You have to answer them for yourself. And even if you don't want to build some story out in your mind, you don't have to. This game is fun enough on its own. Its colossi, its designs, how you defeat them are fun. I mean, I don't know how you could not have fun climbing on top of giant monsters and killing them. You can do things at your own pace, or whatever you feel comfortable with. And I just wish more games now use this type of storytelling. I know things such as Yellow Paint are really big in games now where developers feel the need to hold the player's hand to figure things out. And I just don't always think that's necessary. And I think if done right, it can create an even stronger story where there is none, just like this game did. Of course, I feel like we should talk about the Colossi. It's the main point of this game. It's what everyone remembers from it. It's the game. These Colossi are so intricate in their design and just what they are, because it's so weird. Every Colossi is completely different. None of them look the same other than two. Even just looking at them when you first walk into their area and they come out and the cutscene plays, you really have to kind of think about what the hell even are these things. It can take a while. They're so odd but so familiar at the same time. I'll be playing obviously some clips of the fights and you can kind of tell. Like the first Colossus. The first one you fight, it has the legs of a goat, the upper body of an ape, the face of a dog or a bear. It has stone armor that's connected to its body. It's holding a giant club. Has a mask. It has eyes that are gray, blue, swirly. If you just heard a description about that, you wouldn't know how to piece them together. When you look at it, you recognize those similarities, but at the same time, you don't recognize it because it just doesn't make sense. And the fact that this game was able to do 16 of these and make them all feel so unique is really incredible. All these boss fights are honestly memorable. None of them feel the same. Even though the controls of this game are so basic, this game manages to make each fight feel completely different with the limited gameplay. You take these Colossi down the same way, each one of them. You find its weak point, you go to it, and you stab it. But the way these are done is completely different for each 16 Colossi. The energy these Colossi give off are so weird because, like I said, they're all so different, but they all have this commonality between them. And not just in their design, but kind of how they act. Even though these Colossi are attacking you, it never feels like they want to attack you. It feels like you just walked in on them and they don't want you there. It's like if a dog bites you. The dog probably didn't want to bite you, but you probably pissed it off, so it bit you. It's the same way. They feel almost innocent, and killing them can be sad sometimes. They all let out unique screeches every time you stab them, and I felt bad, honestly, killing a couple of them because some of them are so beautifully designed. And I kind of wanted to go back to what I said before of this game doing a lot with so little. This game's open world is empty. No one's there but you, and there's not a whole lot to do. Obviously, you have the Colossi, and you have small little things you can collect to upgrade your stamina and your health, but other than that, it's nothing. Somehow this game manages to make that open world still feel full in some way. It goes back to that thing of filling things out on your own. Each new area of the Colossi, it feels like it has its own story to it. The open world has so many biomes that make it feel different as you're walking through it. And riding through it, it's kind of unexplainable. You feel like you're just kind of exploring this brand new world. You want to keep exploring it because you want to find new things out about it. You want to be able to create a story for it because there is none there. And even this game's gameplay loop, it's so simple. You get told about the new Colossi you're going to fight, you go out there, you kill it, and you're teleported back. But it never feels boring or repetitive. And one of my favorite things this game does that's very subtle is each time you kill a Colossi, it shoots out these black streams that eventually will get to Wander and they'll teleport him back. And even while you see that, you are thinking like there's no way that is good. Like something's definitely going on. And as you progress through the game, if you look at Wander, you can see he gets progressively worse. His face gets gray. He gets kind of black veins all over him, and he just doesn't look good. And again, it's very subtle, but it adds to this game's vibe. And now I want to talk about the game's gameplay, which this game is a PS2 game, and its gameplay makes it feel like that. It can be really frustrating sometimes. Wander can be very slow and sluggish and a bit delayed at times. You don't always feel like you have complete control over him. This adds a lot of challenge to the Colossi. And that honestly is just kind of not my favorite way to feel challenge, is through the gameplay and how the character is controlled. It just makes it more frustrating than hard. You know, like Dark Souls. every time you die, you kind of know why you died, and you feel like it was your fault. You feel like you could have done something. But in this game, it doesn't feel like you could have done anything for that because of the way the character is moving. And it is a product of its time, and it kind of has a certain charm to it because this game is so old that you kind of have to accept. And that's alright, you have to do this a lot with older games, especially ones that are considered masterpieces. If you look at the original Final Fantasy VII, Ocarina of Time, obviously very good games, but they control like they were made 20, 30 years ago, because they were. So you kind of have to forgive it a little bit. And the gameplay never really makes the boss fights unfun. You do have to think about it a lot, and especially with Agro. I'm just being honest, she's my least favorite animal companion in any game ever, genuinely. I got so mad at Agro during this playthrough, and I never want to see her again. Agro just controls horribly. She feels horrible. And maybe that's an exaggeration, but Agro is just very sensitive. You move a bit to the right, you're completely pulled there. And you might get run into something, and it's just annoying, to be honest. And just like Wander, she feels a little bit sluggish. Slowing down feels like it's really unresponsive. Speeding up also feels like it's unresponsive. Luckily, she's only required for 2 Colossus fights out of the 16, so it's not the biggest issue because you won't have to deal with it as much. But I felt like I have to include it because it was definitely my least favorite part of this game. That's small, by the way. If that's the least favorite part is a horse and its controls, then the game's probably pretty good. And during those 2 fights, you have to, 1, fight the Colossus. You have to control Agro, control the camera, and also shoot arrows. And that can be very, very frustrating, and especially in hard mode and time attack mode. But overall, when this game works, it works really good. Each time you climb a Colossus, you find that weak point, you stab it. More often than not, it feels satisfying. But when it doesn't work, it can be frustrating. It feels like it's charm most of the time. Wanted to talk about the different modes and the collectibles in the game. Obviously, you have the normal mode, you have hard mode, and you have a time attack mode. In the hard mode, the Colossus do more damage, and your stamina runs out quicker. And then with the time attack, you have to defeat them in a certain time limit. And honestly, it's a challenge to get through all 16 Colossi within those time limits. And it just adds more replay value to the game, and that's always good. The collectibles, there's fruits that increase your health, there's lizard tails that increase your stamina, and you can collect different items by completing time attack mode challenges. They have armor, increase damage, take less damage, different throwables like spears and stuff like that. It's small, but it's enough, and I just wanted to talk about it because it's there. And finally, I just think everything about this game comes together so perfectly. And it has just that central theme of doing so much with so little, like I've been saying. The gameplay on the outside, not very complicated, but the game makes it complicated with each of these colossi. The story, if you just heard a synopsis of it, you think it's simple, but it's not. You can make the story whatever you want it to be. The open world, there's really nothing to do in there other than the colossi and the few collectibles, but it's still able to feel full. This game just comes together. My opinion about this game has changed so much. When I first played it, it was good, but that was it. After this replay, it honestly jumps so far up my list that I don't think this will ever happen again, and I would have never expected a replay of a game to do this. I don't have an exact top 10 listed out, but I just feel like if I was gonna list them, I would have to have this game in here. This game's story is so incredible to me, it really spoke to me. I just love how it's told. The Colossi are so fun, it's so unique, it's like nothing I've ever played before. Honestly, you could just look at each of these Colossi for hours if you wanted and just break them down. And while its gameplay is not always my favorite, it never took away from my experience with it, other than aggro. And that's all I kind of have about this game. It's one of my favorites now. And to close this video off, if you have a game that you've been putting off or have just been looking at, and like I said, it doesn't matter what it is, what it means to you, make the time to play it. Have a good time with it. You never know which game is gonna speak to you, which game's gonna stick with you, and you never know which game's gonna be your favorite or it's gonna make it on your top 10. And obviously, the future is rough. The next generation is almost here. Nobody is really excited for it, mainly because we're probably just not gonna be able to afford it. And that's unfortunate. When the PS5 first came out, I was so excited. I wanted to get it day one. Now, I don't know when I'll even get the PS6 when it comes out. But gaming has such a long history, and there's so much there. There's so many experiences to be had. So yeah, make time. And even if it's not a video game, if it's a show, a movie, a book, doesn't matter. Just do something fun. Or not. You don't have to. That's fine too.